What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JFlood201, and I'm back with some reaction news for you. So, it's come to my attention that there's been some clips circulating and some influential people in hip hop media implying that Sue Surf, the rapper out of New Jersey, Newark, a New Jersey legend, a New Jersey staple, if you will, with the hip hop and rap community here, has some current allegations that his paperwork implies that he either cooperated or, got other people in trouble. Now, we're going to watch the clip that stirred this up. To be clear, from what I understand, he's taken a plea agreement, or is proceeding with a plea agreement in his RiCO case. Now, just because you take a plea agreement, you are admitting to the court that you're guilty. However, it doesn't mean that you actually are in fact guilty. It just means that you are worried about taking it to trial, right? If you take it to trial and you lose, you're gonna suffer the full weight of whatever that sentencing is. And in some cases that sentence can be hefty. I recently just went through this myself, dealing with some allegations, and ended up taking a plea deal in order to avoid trial. I thought it would save me, save the other people involved a lot of heartache, a lot of headache, and a lot of just BS. That being said, in it, I have to admit to something, right? I have to admit to disorderly persons, right? Rather than going to trial for, let's say, like an aggravated assault, right? Now, in my particular case, I probably would have won at trial, right? But it really does depend on the jury you get. But really, what it mostly depends on is the moment, right? The moment, what's going on. So, if you know that they don't have any evidence against you, right? You might take it to trial. That's why I was going to take it to trial, because there was really no evidence against me. There was nothing, Let's say that there was a cooperating witness, but that witness is untrustworthy, right? Or that witness can be proved to be a liar, or that doubts about that witness can be raised, right? That would essentially ruin the case or open it up, and you'd get either a mistrial or you'd be found innocent. That's probably what would have happened in my circumstance. But what I decided to do instead was I decided to take a plea agreement so that we wouldn't have to gamble on that chance, and so that the other person wouldn't have to gamble on that chance, or the district attorney wouldn't have to gamble on that chance, or conduct an investigation, try to provide evidence, because a lot of the time the state doesn't have the resources to do that, doesn't want to do that, and the cops who did the initial investigation didn't really collect any evidence, right? That's not the case in other situations, especially a RiCO case. RiCO, 9 times out of 10, they're collecting the evidence while it's going on. There are witnesses, there are informants, there's physical evidence, and I think the case with Sue Surf, there's a cooperating witness, there's physical evidence, and there's electronic paper trail. But basically, the whole reason that this all came up was because Math Hoffa is the guy who went missing, right? Math Hoffa on podcast. I'm not familiar with his podcast. I'm not really a fan. I don't follow him. I know he's very popular, and I do know that he's quite influential in media circles around hip hop. I personally am, he's not on my radar until this moment because it has to do with Jersey shit. So he implies that Sue Surf either cooperated or that in Sue Surf's plea agreement damaged other people who were not cooperating, which kind of breaks the code of silence, or is like adjacent to being a rat, right? A cooperating witness, an informant, whatever. Me personally, it would take a lot for me to convince me that somebody like Sue Surf ratted, even if he took a plea deal that harmed other people. Unless those people were only harmed by his plea agreement and they didn't also have other things that were being levied against them, like let's say another cooperating witness or testimony or, state evidence, right, that was very damning. It's hard for me to imagine Sue Surf taking a plea agreement where it's like, this guy's going down anyway, so why not benefit from that, right? And yeah, that might not be perfectly G code or whatever, the code of silence, but when you're somebody like Sue Surf, you have a career waiting for you on the outside, you've already done significant time in jail and in prison, why go through with it, right? Like, why not fight your case? Why not take a plea deal and cut your time short when you're fighting what is a very uphill legal battle, right? It's not like my deal where he's just trying to cut out the headaches and create peace, you know what I mean, and avoid drama and stuff like that. No, he's got to take a plea deal or fight it and win. Like, it's not like there's no real other outcomes. And I can identify with that mindset because that's definitely how you feel when you're in those positions, when you've got all this scrutiny on you, when you have, people that want to see you harmed. The district attorney wants to harm you, the evidence wants to harm you, the police want to harm you, whatever it is. On that RiCO case admits to other members being involved in your crimes, it's considered snitching. All right, so we got a reaction from Ripple Man. He's saying that basically if there's a RiCO and your testimony hurts other people, that is considered snitching. So I've never been in a RiCO or even a gang indictment or anything like that. I've only ever been my own defendant. So I don't really know what it's like to have codees. I don't know what it's like to have codees. But I would imagine that you're probably right. Like, if you're putting out statements or you cooperate with law enforcement to a degree where it hurts other people that aren't cooperating with law enforcement, I can definitely see how that's snitching, right? What I was trying to draw a difference between is I don't know enough about his testimony to say if like that person was already, going down for it. But it sounds like that's not the case. But anyway, we're going to get into it. This is the clip from Math Hoffa talking about Sue Surf and his status now that this paperwork has come out. Then we're going to watch a paperwork video where they kind of go through the paperwork. But let's see how this whole thing started, and let's see the clip with Matt Hoffa.
Math Hoffa and Easy had an interesting moment on the latest episode of My Expert Opinion. When Surf's name came up, Math said he doesn't think Surf will battle again when he comes home.
Maybe Surf, when Surf come home, right? I'm gonna be something
I don't think he's gonna battle.
His co-host pushed back, saying Surf already talked about having 3 people lined up to battle.
You don't think so?
He got 3 lined up.
Nah.
I heard he's talking about 3 people he want to battle when he come home.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's like,
Surf already talked about having 3 people lined up to battle.
You don't think so?
Wait, so battle is in battle rap, right?
So
he got 3 lined up.
Nah.
I heard he's talking about 3 people he want to battle when he come home.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's like that now?
I ain't gonna lie, I got called for him.
Yeah.
Yeah?
But Math didn't back down. He said, niggas really don't care no more.
Yeah, I heard it's 3.
Damn, niggas really don't care.
Oh, sir.
Niggas really don't care no more. That's crazy.
That's when Math got quiet, then said, it still rules.
Care about what? I can't be the only nigga.
Yeah, you're the only nigga to keep
I
that with.
can't be the only nigga.
The only nigga that do what happened?
Right. Alright, I'm gonna just keep it to myself. I'm gonna just keep it to myself.
What are you talking about?
Damn, that's crazy.
Hmm?
You know, okay. Is that,
You know what he's talking
you know?
Oh,
You know?
I think I know what you're talking about too.
There's still rules, right?
Yeah, you know.
There's still rules.
And before anyone could take it further, Easy added,
But I don't think it came out though. I don't think the paperwork came out.
fans are already wondering what Math was really hinting at. What do you think he meant? Drop your thoughts below.
All right, so they're implying that there is paperwork out there that confirms what Rippleman is saying here in the comments. If Surf just admitted to his own crimes, that's a different situation. I agree with you, Ripple, right? Like, it really matters whether or not you have codees or not, and if what you're saying damages other people's defense, right? Because you have your defense, and then you have your, the group's defense or the legal strategy defense, right? When you have codees, because essentially when you have codees, you all have to stick to the same legal strategy, right? There's that great OT line where it's like, the bikers down in Texas got hit with the RiCO. No one snitched. When all your dudes are stand up, then no one sits. And I love that line because it basically implies that as long as nobody cooperates, it's going to take time, but you're all going to get let out eventually. And that's exactly what happened. I think he's referring to the MC Club, the Banditos, that beat a RiCO around that shooting. There was a big shooting between biker gangs down in Texas. And the Banditos all beat their RiCO charges. The other people had to take other small pinches, but, they beat the RiCO because none of them said that, that the Banditos Motorcycle Club is an organized crime syndicate or is a gang or, you know what I mean? So that was interesting to watch. So here, we're going to go Sue Surf, paperwork. All right. So there was Piper Boy and all this stuff, but where's the one where they were talking about, here we go, Polo World. This is what I wanted to watch.
Rocking with that?
So he's talking about 3 people he want to battle when he come home.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's like that now?
I ain't gonna lie, I got called
So in this clip, he's talking about the video we just watched.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I heard it's 3
Damn,
people.
niggas really don't care.
Oh, sir?
Niggas really don't care no more. That's crazy.
Care about what?
I can't be the only nigga.
Yeah, you're the only nigga. Keep
I
that way.
can't be the only
The
nigga.
only nigga to do what happened?
Right.
Alright, I'm gonna just keep it to myself. I'm gonna just keep it to myself.
What are you talking about?
Damn, that's crazy.
Hmm?
You know, okay? Is that,
You
you
know what
know?
Oh,
You know?
I think I know what you're talking about too.
There's still rules, right?
Yeah, you know.
There's still rules.
Just the rule.
But I don't think it came out though. I don't think the paperwork came out.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Y'all didn't know. Y'all rocking with that? Y'all rocking with that? And, this sparked up a lot of internet news. A lot of people became detectives. And, now they're trying I ain't gonna front. A lot of people was writing me, yo, Polo. Well, we here now. So let's actually get into this. And Sue Surf did not snitch, for the record. Sue Surf is among 10 defendants in crime number 21369, a major federal RICO case in New Jersey targeting the Rolling 60 neighborhood Crip enterprise. The government
Oh, I thought he was great. I forgot. He's rolling 60.
alleges the conspiracy spanned from 2015 to 2022, involving acts of violence, firearm offenses, drug trafficking. In April 2023, Sue Surf pled guilty to 2 counts of RICO conspiracy and possession of firearms and ammunition by a convicted felon.
Oh, so he admitted to the RICO. He admitted to the RICO part of the charges. If he had admitted to the substance and the gun, I imagine that he'd, like, you know what I mean, it wouldn't hurt the other people as much, right? Because as long as you don't tell them how, what, when, where you got this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, for possession these days, you could get drug court, you know what I mean? I know because I'm on it. But, this stuff is crazy because, like, you could even get the gun dropped, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But, alright, let's read this. Terry worked with others, including members of the gang, in an attempt to carjack a victim. Oh, no. I wonder if he talked about the carjacking. Shoot another victim. Terry brandished a firearm. Is he Terry? Terry Edmonds? Is that Sue Surf? Yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that info. I'm gonna need that info. Is Terry Edwards sue Surf? Edmonds, my bad. Because if he admits to carjacking people with others in furtherance of a criminal syndicate, yeah, that's snitching, bro. And not just that's not just cooperating. That's fucking snitching, dude. And like, I'm not saying that there's like, you know, I'm not trying to go easy on the snitching, but like, you know, as a civilian, right? Not a gang member, not somebody who bangs, right? As a civilian, cooperating or trying to get yourself a plea deal, I think, is different than when you're pointing fingers or you're admitting to crimes you did with other people, right? Even pointing the fingers is still pretty. I mean, that's definitely snitching. But if you're like, oh yeah, I did that. No, that wasn't mine. No, I don't know where I got that from. But yeah, I did that. That's a little different, right? Because you want leniency. You want to be viewed by the judge and by the prosecutor and by the district attorney as somebody who's willing to tell the truth, right? And fess up to what you did wrong. But you're not trying to throw other people under the bus. You're not trying to serve somebody else up, right? And you know, as a civilian, I don't, you know, care one way or the other. But I'm not a rolling 60s neighborhood crip, dude. I'm not walking around cripping. All right, so he admits to the carjacking, possession with intent, and all this other stuff. Maximum sentence of 20 years. Maximum? Oh, plus the 15. So that's 35. Yeah, that's essentially life.
He was later sentenced to 5 years, 6 months in federal prison, plus 3 years of supervised release. Importantly, the public record DOJ press releases his indictment and sentences statement contains no mention of cooperation, no substantial assistance language, or snitching. So, for those of you that might be...
All right, wait, let's go back. Right? Nothing in the Department of Justice press release, the docket, or the judgment statement says Cox agreed to testify, assist, or cooperate. There's no 5K11 motion. That's the government's official form when somebody provides substantial evidence. Without that motion, the judge can't give extra sentence cuts. Oh. Cox got the same 5-year deal the prosecution requested, meaning it was a straight plea, not a cooperation deal. It's very interesting.
Or snitching. So, for those of you that might be confused on what a plea is basically a legal agreement between the defendant and the prosecution. Instead of taking the case to trial and risking a much longer sentence if found guilty, the defendant admits guilty to specific charges in exchange for set punishment or reduced exposure. In federal court, this is common. More than 90% of cases end in plea deals. A plea doesn't automatically mean cooperation or snitching. It simply means the person accepted responsibility for certain count. The court still reviews the agreement and the judge decides whether to accept it before handing down the final sentence. Now, those of you like, okay, cool. Well, the reason why I'm saying this is because Sue Surf had 10 co-defendants. In this, they all copped out to the same charges. Meaning that they all were in agreement that we are going to say, we did this, we are acknowledging that this is that, and this is that. It's not nobody in this being actually named. It's not nobody being blamed. If you go through this paperwork, it's not Surf saying, yeah, they did it. It's them. He's saying he's taking responsibility. It's them saying they taking responsibilities for this, for that, for this, whatever it might be. It's not no single person being named. There's no records of that anywhere. In fact, the feds actually have an eyewitness. They had another member that wasn't part of the 10 that was around since 2015. That was a star witness helping the feds build all of their case on the rolling 60s in New Jersey. Like, they didn't need them. They already had a snitch. They already had somebody that was cooperating, somebody that was giving them all the details. That's how they knew the whole layout. They knew the Instagrams. They knew every single detail because they already had a star witness. Now, this star witness name obviously is sealed, and the reason why it's sealed also is because they did not go to trial. The person that the government had in 2015, he was already willing to cooperate and go to trial and name everybody. The government did didn't need no more assistance. They didn't need no more help. They had everything in black and white from this person, and they were willing to take it to trial. They felt they had enough. You know, the feds don't go to trial unless they feel they can beat you. Now, when you actually go through the paperwork in the plea agreement, each of these gentlemen that's in this case has a plea agreement and what they copped out to and what they're agreeing to. None of in these plea agreement does it say anything about testifying on anyone else, or does it say anything that will lead to the arrest of any of the other co-defendants. Let me give you an example. Now, Young Thug in situation with Young Thug and Gunna. Young Thug main thing, in which he said on the interview that went viral, which went viral, he said his main thing with Gunna.
What's the worst betrayal you can do in a trial? Well, we saying YSL is not a game. What's the worst you can do? Say it's a game. Yeah. Nigga, them folk called you second in charge. Them folk called you CEO, second man in charge.
Hold up, let me say this though. What about the niggas who actually started YSL too? Didn't they take their plea before Gunna?
No, he the first plea.
For real?
Gunna took the first plea. You know that. You know that.
I didn't know that.
To what made Gunna a rat is the fact that he did not communicate what he was doing with any of us. Meaning, we didn't even have time to talk, his other codees. We didn't have time to discuss a plan. We didn't have time. We were a record label. I had everything proven that I'm a record label. We had thousands of paperwork. But he said when Gunna actually got in front of the judge and said, yes, ma'am, we a gang, he said that threw everything out. Now that's snitching. When you take 10 people in a plea.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I don't see a whole lot of difference between the Gunna situation. I see how not communicating is key, because as I talked about earlier, that's a legal defense strategy. You fucking up other people's legal defense strategy, that's cooperating, right? Cooperating is snitching, okay. All right. And, you know, I'm not even against that, right? If you're a civilian, you're a civilian, but Sue Surf's not a civilian. While he might be a rapper, everybody also knows that he's banging, right? So it's a little different. With Gunna was a rapper, but they kind of like put it on him that he's YSL. Gunna was doing it for the clout. Gunna wasn't out here. Like, Newark is a way different animal than Atlanta. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not saying Atlanta's not real. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of, like, you know, Atlanta can be zesty, and it's very Hollywood, right? like Newark's not like that. Newark's not fucking doing any of that shit, bro.
In Sue Surf's situation, and they're all copping out to the same thing. That means they all had a conversation. And when you actually go through the paperwork and you look through the paperwork, in the agreement, in order for the plea agreement to stand, the only thing that was required was that each person admit or take responsibility to what they have done. The government is not gonna just let you take, including, it's a person on this with an alleged body, including them. They had to take responsibility in order to get this plea. They had to go on record and say what they have done in regards to their own particular situation. So the plea agreement wasn't for this person to say what Surf done, or for Surf to say what he's done, or for these, or to say what they wanted them to say what they have done themselves and take responsibility. Nowhere in this case does it say a deal was made. Nowhere on this paperwork does it say anything pertaining to such. All it says is that, you know, they all copped out and took a plea, and they all said what each of them done themselves. Now, y'all probably like, well, Polo, it was a sealed, it has sealed. Now, when you read the paperwork, it's sealed because it's a witness, which I mentioned earlier in this blog. The feds have a star eyewitness. Now, he actually...
All right, so the eyewitness is not Sue Surf. Because that would be more documented. You know what I'm saying? He's only 168 pounds? How tall is he? He can't be that tall then, no offense. All right. Where we going?
Type of AI app or anything like that, all you gotta do is ask the damn AI, ask Grok, what Elon Musk. Ask one of them, and they gonna tell you. Now, Sue Surf manager, his road manager Q, actually responded to Math Hoffa. Now, he actually said, you can't uncorny a niggas been hating for over a decade. Give a nigga a mic and a platform, and he liable to say anything for clicks. And he's talking about Math Hoffa. How y'all feeling in the chat? Now, again, you're gonna believe what you want to believe. Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah, I agree with that too. Is that you're gonna see what you want to see. You know what I mean? You're gonna see what you want to see. I see what Ripple's talking about. I see how this could be, you know, considered snitching, because now the guy who did the murder is gonna have to fess up to the murder, or the unaliving. The guy who unalived somebody is gonna have to fess up to unaliving. But if everybody admits to what they did as individuals, you also have to kind of understand where that legal defense is coming from. It means everybody gets what they get. If you were only around and hanging out with a couple guys, did a few hand-to-hands, that's all you should suffer for, right? If you was out there doing this, that, and the third, and you know, you had to unalive somebody because of self-defense or something, that's what you have to fess up and suffer for. You know what I mean? So it's there's a lot going on in this, but I can see it from both ways now. You know what I mean? Me as a civilian, I think he cooperated, but that he's not necessarily a snitch, right? But at the same time, is cooperating snitching? Yeah, more often than not, especially when you got codees, right? And it's an organization, and it's a RiCO, and all this other stuff. So it's interesting, man. I could take it from both ways. But shout out to Polo World for the video. We got to see the original Math Hoffa clip. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are reacting to this. So this is just my take. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up on Instagram. It's JFlood201. I'm back at you. And, you know, stay tuned for more content like this.